Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Gadget, Gadget, Gadget. Your host, Joey Lambert. Jory Lambert. Me, Joey Landreth. So we did the pre-board video where we talked about some of the ideas. We did the build video where I nervously assembled this pedal board in front of, I don't know, hundreds of you, maybe thousands, probably hundreds, let's face it. And now we're just going to walk through some of the sounds and talk through some of the concepts, some of the things that I'm going for on this board, and highlight a few things that changed even between the build video and now. A few things have changed. I knew they would, and probably so did you. Okay, so let's walk through the signal path a little bit here. Obviously, starts with the guitar. Then we hit the TX interfacer by Goodwood Audio, and this guy is doing a fair amount of heavy lifting in terms of routing. I have the guitar going into the passive input, which is then going to a remote loopy tube by GigRig underneath the board, which I'm controlling via the relay output of the MC6 Pro. In the remote loopy tube, I have the Dominion Fuzz, which is actually first, which then runs into the Maxon SD9, which is second in the second loop. And I like that because I can run the Fuzz into the SD9 and kind of get that sort of blown out fuzz face sound. And then after the remote loopy 2 goes to the Condor, which I'm controlling the bypass and presets and expression pedal stuff via MIDI. So I don't need to have access to that. I can just sort of control it with the MC6 Pro. After the Condor, it goes to Goodwood Audio Audition box, which is also underneath the board, which gives me a effects loop that I could put a pedal in there if I get a fuzz pedal on the road or whatever. I want to add something to the signal path at some point. I can just insert two cables there instead of having to move things around. It's really, really great. And then after the Audition box, I'm going to the Goodwood Isolator, which just splits the signal off if I want to run in like a fully wet, dry, wet configuration. After the Isolator, I go into the buffered input of the TX interfacer, which then drives the wet effects. All the wet effects are going into the ML10X by Morningstar Engineering, and all those loops and routing and stuff is being controlled via MIDI as well. So the GFI duophony, the gen loss, and the GHS Emperor are all living in the ML10X, and then the Thermae and the Mercury 7 are running into the duophony, so the duophony is kind of controlling the audio of those two pedals. Duophony is running fully stereo, and then I'm doing some sort of left-right signal path managing within duophony itself. So that's kind of the overview of how the signal path is working. Yeah, let's get into some of the presets. So the way that I have this board set up is a bit of a hybrid from what I did on my big board last year, in the sense that I have scenes for every song. One of the things that I really liked about the big board was I can set the tempos for each tune into the board and have one of the pedals be blinking the tempo of the song. So it's kind of like having a click without having to play to a click, and just something that I can reference the time. And the reason for that is a lot of times, especially at the top of the show, I get kind of nervous, and I have a bit of a bad habit of starting songs like too fast or too slow, and so that's a bit of a safety blanket for me. So I really like that. So when I'm changing presets, I have it set up so that the Thermae goes to a quarter note delay that I have programmed in the board and sends me time. I can pull the tempo of the song from there, and then, you know, once I get into the tune, obviously the band is in and we're playing together, but that's something that I really like. While we were setting up for the video, I started to think that maybe I'll get the duophony to handle that sort of blinking light thing, so again, changes are going to be made even after this is done. One of the things that I found kind of tricky about the big board, though, was that I was really married to whatever presets I'd made. So I didn't have a lot of room to change sounds on the fly. A lot of times, like, each song had so much going on in terms of presets per switch that if I wanted to have like a fuzz pedal that I could just turn on for if I decide that, we want to go and jam a little bit, a lot of times I didn't even have room on the switcher to have that. So I was kind of married to certain sounds per song. So on this board, I didn't want to go that crazy. There are certain songs that need specific sounds, but a lot of the songs kind of don't. So I wanted to set this board up in a way where my main window was mostly sounds that I would just go for if I was sitting in with friends or something, and then have the odd like character sound that would come up. So this is an example of my kind of main window. I like to run the gain kind of higher and clean it up with the volume knob. So if I need a bit of a cleaner sound, I might run the guitar, on 7. That kind of thing. So here's my sort of go-to slap delay. Then I have a long delay in case the spirit moves me. I have the button to turn the sort of long delay on also set to tap. So that's kind of a nice little hack. Another sort of sound that I might go for is just adding in the Emperor. A little room sound. And then a fuzz that I can kind of turn on whenever I need it. Yeah, that's them. Those are kind of the main sounds. And then anything, no, I mean, that's kind of it, actually, to be honest. Those are all the sounds. Yeah, so this little board, I also got a kick out of how many people said that this would be a big board for them. But anybody who saw my last monster, this is definitely a downsizing situation. Yeah, Dylan Adams, I'm looking at you. He constantly texts me, this is my pedal board, and it's like one pedal. Very cute. That I think the big board was like creatively for me, it was so much fun to build and conceptualize and dream up the sounds and try to figure out how I was going to recreate certain sounds from the record. But when I actually got out to play it, it was as much an instrument in certain moments as the guitar was, which isn't a problem. Actually, it was super fun. But this year, going into touring, I really, really just am very excited about making it about playing guitar with my friends, with my brother and our buddy Roman. I kind of want to make this year's shows a little more about playing music together in a little bit more of like a present way. And so this board for me is all about gathering the things that I loved about the big board and condensing them down into things that I that I feel like I need or really, really enjoy, and letting all the other stuff kind of go. What I really enjoyed about the big board was the stereo wet effects, like having a short delay separate from the dry sound is really exciting to stand in front of. So I wanted to be able to do that. I really liked some of the more luscious reverbs that I was getting out of the CXM 1978. And so I wanted to bring something into the board that was going to do that. In the previous videos, I was using the Dark World, which I absolutely love, but I decided that I did actually want something that was going to be stereo. So I grabbed the Mercury 7. The other thing that I really got into on the board last year was the Maxon SD9. I do have a bit of a love-hate relationship with it, but at the end of the day, I really enjoy playing it, and it's a lot of fun, and it also is a pedal that one of my heroes used, so I just I feel like I get to sort of chase that inspiration around. And then one of the other sounds that I really, really liked was the low-pass filter from the Condor, so I wanted to make sure that I had that in there. And then everything else, I was doing some sequencing and some, like, not live looping, but playing loops, pre-made loops. And that is so fun to stand in front of, but it's a lot of brain power to, like, you know, because we weren't playing to a click, nothing was tempo locked. I had to make sure that I hit the button at the exact perfect time, and if I didn't, then we were all playing to an off-kilter loop. So those kind of things I'm kind of excited to not be worrying about. In rehearsals, we've really been just enjoying playing together, and so I wanted to build a pedal board that wasn't going to stand in the way of that and was just going to sort of bring me some inspiration and also just get out of the way. So again, I know that that's probably pretty funny for some folks who are like, that's still a very elaborate pedal board that would give me anxiety and keep me up at night. Compared to the spaceship that I was flying last year, this is a nice downsized moment for me. I've got a lot of favorites on here, and I'm really, really excited about having my pedal board just help me make some music and keep my guitar in tune. And the rest of the show is just going to be making music with my buds.
What would you name this board?
I feel like Greatest Hits is a good name.
Yeah.
Next to that, like, maybe Colton? Would somebody go pack Colton up and put it in the back of the van? Yeah, I think Greatest Hits feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it. Stop by our YouTube channel for more Gadget at some point. I don't know when. It's going to happen, though. We're going to make more of these. Would love to see you stopping by here more to check out some videos. Would also love to see you out on the Dusty Trail. We are going to be touring all around North America this year. We got shows in the States. We got shows in Canada, Australia. Europe is coming up in the fall. Please hit our tour date link, which will be in the description somewhere in this crazy space. and come out to a show, come say hi, come see this little cute fella in action.